Hi, welcome to the Silver Spleen. My name is Roy DeSoto, and this is my review of As the Light Goes Out. It's the story of a group of intrepid firefighters from a remote fire station who end up battling to save fire victims, each other, and the city of Hong Kong. Because you gotta have goals. Let me get the bad parts out of the way first. When you build a massive natural gas pipeline from China all the way to Hong Kong, you don't put a fenced safety zone around the pipeline. You just run it past buildings without worrying about, what kind of stuff they do in there or whether that building happens to be packed with explosive things like, alcohol. But you know what? People in the power plant have other things to worry about, like hosting a group of school children who are there on a field trip on Christmas Eve. A group of kids whose teacher doesn't even bother doing a head count when she herds them all back onto the bus. She just turns to the class prefect, a 6-year-old, and says, "Did you count everybody?" And the kid goes, "Yeah, I did." They go, "Okay, let's leave." But these children are actually pretty good. They learn to make paper airplanes that can survive a gas-fueled holocaust inside a gigantic burning building. And this plane that's made of, paper, a fairly combustible material, that's thrown by a kid who's in a building he's never seen before that's filled with smoke. This plane has no problem finding not just a person, but this kid's dad, who also just happens to be a firefighter who just happens to have been called to this one place where his kid just happens to be. It happens all the time. A field trip on Christmas Eve to a power plant that turns into a raging inferno with a typhoon coming. And yes, it's a surprise to people when it shows up, because nobody in Hong Kong ever gets notice of typhoons until they're 3 hours away. They sneak up on you like cats. That said, this typhoon is actually very polite. It stops raining literally on a moment's notice. And that moment just happens to be a dramatic beat. It's either that or they ran out of the budget for the Rainmaker. But if you can just let go of that, because while that stuff irritated me, there's a lot of stuff about this movie that I enjoyed and I liked. The cinematography is very impressive, and I watched that movie at the Dynasty on that dusty old screen, so I can only imagine what it would look like in a decent cinema. The acting is really good. Nicolas Tse, Shayn Yue, and Andy On play 3 guys who graduated from Fire Training Academy together, but then take fairly different paths. Simon Yam Tatwa plays the grizzled veteran facing retirement, and William Chan plays the fresh-faced rookie whose enthusiasm just might get him into trouble. Yeah, these guys just got off a bus from Central Casting, but so what? It's a fireman movie. What do you expect? A subplot about rivalries is played very well, and actually I wish it had been a greater focus of the film's time and energy. I also thought that the film handled the current and rising tensions between Hong Kong and the mainland in very interesting ways. The issues of language and leadership are directly referenced. At one point, a fireman announces that the mainland rescue team has arrived. I think that line of dialogue is bound to draw some laughter in Hong Kong. And so too will the almost caricatured nature of the portrayal of Hu Jun's veteran Chinese firefighter, Ocean. He's the poster child for civil servant rectitude. But the other parts of his character aren't so easily dismissed. And thanks to Hu Jun's acting skills, Ocean becomes much more human and likable. In fact, all of the characters are very human, whether in good ways or bad. It was frustrating to me to see such good camera work and acting being spent on plot contrivances that were cheaply exploitative. I would still recommend that you watch this movie simply to see the performances and to see how nice the movie looks. Just don't follow the story too much, or like me, you run the risk of the aneurysm. The way I want you to see this film is go watch it in a cinema if you can. If you can't do that, rent it or wait till it comes out on disc and buy it. Please do not download this movie. Don't steal it. When this film is released to video, we will update the description with a link where you could buy it. That would be lovely. If you enjoy these reviews, please think about following me on Twitter and on Facebook, because I put up pictures of me meeting famous people or going to places that were in movies or almost anything except food. If you enjoyed this review, please leave me a comment. If you didn't enjoy the review, please leave me a comment. If you enjoy this channel, please subscribe to it. That way, you'll find out about all the newest stuff first.